uma hora da frenética cidade de Londres, a pequena Brighton se transformou num refúgio para pessoas criativas que dispensam a neura da metrópole. Um balneário das artes, terra de gente que curte cultura e discos. Hoje, nós vamos visitar a Loja Resident.
We're really blessed to be in this part of Brighton because this is really, for me, what Brighton's all about. It's where I used to come when I was younger and what part of Brighton I fell in love with. And you walk through the lanes down to the sea and it's like, yeah, everything that's beautiful about Brighton.
There's a crack in the world. Rivers red sparks from the bits flew far and wide. How the universe sighed. All clear, wailed the siren. Sunshine on the wasteland. Old man sitting in the white sand. Think we're in for a big surprise right between the eyes.
You walk down the road and pretty much everyone's carrying an instrument on their back. That's Brighton for you.
Sunshine on the wasteland. Old man sitting in the white sand. Think we're in for a big surprise right between.
Brighton's got a lot of stuff for such a small city and a lot of enthusiasm for the arts generally, not just music.
Brighton's got a massive tourist appeal, so it brings people in for the obvious stag and hen do's, but for clubbing reasons and for the festival season and for all different things. So we get a real mixture of people here.
Somewhere too old to carry, and we knew it, and we knew it, and we knew we only had a little while. In the middle, in the middle, in the middle, just keep ticking over. Before you know it, before you know it, before you know it, parent to parent.
These are all the trains that we got to Brighton. This is the train track that takes you to Brighton. This is London Bridge there, and Brighton's at the other end. So this is, Fee was talking about the other 20-year-olds that go and monopolise the place for a little while. They're all on that train, making the noise.
We go back to where we came from.
We're visiting London this weekend, and yesterday we decided to go to Brighton because of the weather. So we just looked up what we could do, and I thought we could see if there were any nice record stores here we could visit. So here we are.
In the end, in the end, in the end, nothing comes easy. So you find a way, so you find a way, so you find a way to take a little with you. For the ones you love, for the ones you love, for the ones you love, there if they need to. Pharaoh, they're not coming with you. Go!
People used to come to Brighton to record shop for the entire day, you know, and you could walk from the station all the way down to the seafront and shop in, like, you know, 13, 15 different shops. You're kind of left with about 5 now, but, you know, we're all still going and working really hard to make it work, and it is still doable, so.
That was one of the reasons why we came here. We saw online that it was quite a good shop with a large collection as well. So we thought, well, let's see if we can find it.
I moved to Brighton. One of the things that made me move to Brighton was it was the town that I went to go record shopping because there was nothing in my hometown. And all the first people, like the friends that I made when I first moved to Brighton, the bands that I first started before Blood Red Shoes were people I met in record shops.
I've always loved shopping in indie record shops, but I'd never found somewhere I felt really comfortable, and I'd always found the environment quite intimidating. Even though I know music quite well, I still found the environments quite intimidating. So I like the idea of opening a record shop that I felt relaxed in, that felt more inclusive and more comfortable and more, I don't know, just more open to everybody.
People are friendly, nice atmosphere, you can find stuff easily, yeah. Cheap.
We kind of financed it by selling house and moving into a tiny place and selling off loads of our own records and, you know, doing lots of things to just kind of make it happen because it's what we really wanted to do.
I liked the fact that you could hang out and not even necessarily buy something, just hang out and talk about music with people that were into the stuff. You know, that element of record shops is really, actually, I think, quite important. Not just them selling stuff, but the actual people meeting other people. That's, you know, 'cause that's the bands of the future, and that's the people that will go and do other stuff.
People, you know, when they're arranging to meet their friends, it's like, oh, I'll meet you in, yeah, and it will be, you know, their town's record shop. That's where you meet. And it was always like that when I was a kid, and it'll be like that, hopefully, for as long as there are record shops, the place where you meet. And then it becomes the place where bands form and where friendships form. And
I mean, me and Laura met at shows, and I know for a fact that the reason I knew of the bands that I was going to see where I met Laura was through record shops, was people saying, why don't you check these guys out?
Blood Red Shoes come from here as well, who proper kind of, they feel like a real homegrown band, and they do brilliantly around the world. It's been really nice watching them grow and get more and more successful all around the world. That's been, yeah, brilliant, and it's nice that they're still prepared to play in stores for us, to be honest, because they're way bigger than that now.
We've actually played in it a few times. We once played in it with like full setup, and I just remember all the CDs just falling off the shelves.
Yeah.
Take a step out into the daylight. I don't wanna fight.
We're not a venue. They have to kind of deal with working around the racks and the staff and the opening hours and stuff. But yeah, it works great as a kind of way of just being part of offering something different to the customers.
Basically, everyone wedged in, we played really loud, and all the CDs rattled and fell off and loads of stuff was breaking, and we kept looking at the owner like, is this cool? And he was totally fine with it. And everything got smashed up, then we had to pack our gear, run back and play in a regular headline show at this venue. And they didn't really seem to mind about the fact that we'd probably caused quite a lot of, a fairly expensive amount of damage to their stock.
Not just about selling all the time. It's, you know, it is a shop and a business and it needs to make money, but also it's kind of nice just to offer your customers a bit of fun as well.
Cradle me, cradle you, I'm in your heart, baby. Pulling the shades just for your eyes. So we're two-faced kisses and lines. I'll be yours and you'll be.
Maccabees were Brighton based when they got up and running, and they've played in a shop a couple of times as well.
We did 2 or 3 in-stores in Resident, and whenever any bands came from Brighton, they used to always do an in-store. If a band come play Congo 2, they'd do a set in the day in the record shop. we just pack as many people into it. There'd be like loads and loads of kids outside trying to get in. It would just be like just at 6 o'clock, I think, when it closed. We put the whole drum kit in there, the amps, you know, sometimes stand on top of them.
How they didn't get all their records stolen whilst there's people in there, I don't know.
Probably did.
Probably did.
Like a stone, and I fell heavy into your arms.
Mumford and Sons were happy to play here when their first album came out, and you know, obviously now they're in a whole different stratosphere of enormity. But they played just squashed in a corner here with the drums and their instruments and stuff, and people just huddled round, and that's kind of how I feel an install should be. It should be a lot more intimate and kind of seeing your artist in a completely different setting, doing different songs and trying things out, and just having a bit of banter with you as well. They're always the really nice ones.
Summer comes, winter fades. Here we are, just the same. Don't need pressure, don't need change. Let's not give the game away. There used to be an empty space, a photograph without a face. But with your presence and your grace, everything falls into place. Just please don't say you love me, 'cause I might not say it back. Doesn't mean my heart stops skipping when you look at me like that. And there's no need to worry when you see just where we're at. Just please don't say you love me, 'cause I might not say it back.
I don't think people buy music much anymore, so I think it's a nice way to say thank you and just to meet people as well. It's nice to kind of do signings and just kind of meet fans, and I think it's really important.
How we feel is hard to fake, so let's not give the game away. Just please don't say you love me, 'cause I might not say it back. It doesn't mean my heart stops skipping when you look at me like that.
Bat for Lashes has come from Brighton, and she used to shop here back when she was around all the time. Now she's a very busy lady.
To that lonely song, you train that crashed my heart. You're the glitter in the dark aurora. You're more than a superstar.
Bat for Lashes, Fur and Gold, I think is an astonishing album, and it was really great watching her go from being a lone pianist playing little gigs to rising and rising and rising, and just the word of mouth buzz about her was incredible. And she's an incredible personality.
You say that you're stuck in a pale dream. Tears feel hot on my
I think Brighton really influenced me, maybe not just the music scene, but I think it was the creative types of people that live there. There's a big gay scene, there's a big music scene, there's a lot of young people, so I think that whole kind of, and you're right by the sea, so I feel like all those elements are really strong, like inspirations, and if you mix it all together, it makes for quite a bohemian, like alternative kind of consciousness.
You'll be famous for longer than that. Your name is tattooed on every boy's skin. Ooh, Laura, you're more than a superstar.
There was always a small record shop called Edgeworld there, which was up in the top of a little shop, and it was really small and very avant-garde and interesting. And then Resident opened up opposite in the same street. And I remember like going in, and there's a couple that worked there, and they were really passionate about music, and so I just discovered slowly we made friends, and when my album came out, they were really supportive, and they, you know, put posters up and told everyone about it. So we've developed a relationship over the years. Yeah.
Well, the thing about Brighton was that not very few people were actually from Brighton that were making music there. So you did have a kind of community, but it was people that had come from different places to be there at that time. So it's a little bit accidental in that sense, and a lot of the bands that are around it was like Blood Red Shoes and the Kooks and Ghost for 1000 and Us, British She Power, Electric Soft Parade. They were not 80s Matchbox. They don't actually sound that close to each other. It was just a place for people to be, you know? So it wasn't like friends growing up and making exactly the same kind of music. It was just a place that you were allowed to do it, you know? And there were enough people in a small enough space that were interested in it to make that an exciting, you know, an exciting thing.
I mean, when we opened, we didn't sell vinyl at all. We were strictly a CD shop. It just goes to show that over time, you know, trends change, fashion changes, demands change, and we've gradually changed it up now so that, yeah, as the shop's grown and the demand's changed, we've now got like a third of the shop is vinyl, and that's what's really starting to take over everything else.
All my favourite albums I own on vinyl, just because, you know, you own a lot of music, and then the ones that you think are really special you get on vinyl. And I hope, you know, people that felt the same way about our record would get it on vinyl too, you know, and have it in their shelf. I
got a vinyl player about 2 years ago, so it's not as if it's something I grew up with. It's, and I just find it really fascinating. I'm quite, I don't know, I guess I'm a bit of a hipster about it. I'm just like, oh, I think it's so cool to have them. It's cool that more and more people are doing like their music and putting it on vinyl now, so I can just kind of go and find like a new band in a record store amongst loads of old classics. So I think that's really cool.
My boyfriend really got me into it because he said, well, you really have to listen to the vinyl records because the sound is so much better than the CDs. And of course, at first I didn't believe him. So he had a record and a CD, and he first had me listen to the CD and then to the same song on vinyl. And it was like a world of difference. So now I'm a bit hooked as well.
Sitting on the beach like Clarence in Wonderland. A dream, and I know you'll understand.
The sound is printed into the vinyl, and it just the spectrum of bass and high end and everything is much bigger. So you just get a much broader sound that's much warmer than like a smaller digital, very crisp sound that sometimes a bit like doesn't sound so good to me.
In Berlin, by the wall.
On vinyl especially, I love Lou Reed's Berlin album. I think it's because it's like the soundtrack to a film almost, and each side is like a different chapter of the novel or a different part of the film. And I have it on vinyl, and it's gatefold. It's really beautiful and battered and old, and so yeah, that was inspiring. It mixed kind of 70s synths with like rock music, and then string sections and spoken word and like sound samples, and it just has everything, I think.
We were in a small cafe.
I've got loads of CDs at home, and I've always bought vinyl, but I think I'm going to try and like swap out, if I can, my whole collection for vinyl, but it'll take a long time and lots of money.
Make me a deal and make it straight. Or sign and seal, I take it. To Robert Lee, I show it. I hope that you don't know it, 'cause we've been around a long time. Just try to party, make the big time. Take me on a roller coaster. Take me for anything.
I love to go to record shops, especially when you know the people and they recommend things that they think you'll like.
Don't you pull my ride side by side? What's real and make believe? Baby James in Acapulco, we are flying down to Rio.
Resident's quite good for that because they put descriptions and everything, especially underground, lesser known stuff. It isn't potluck like it is in a chain shop or whatever. You've actually got a description, and then it's written by music fans that can explain it in a way that means something and not just like the PR.
Throw me a line, I'm sinking fast, clutching the stars, can't make it.
It'll have, when a new record comes out, what the shop thinks of it, and you after a while you start knowing, like, you trust their opinion.
Yeah, that's a
and
good
that
point.
can inform you, and you don't get that with a lot of other places.
Yeah.
This particular shop's really good for staff's knowledge and enthusiasm for the music that they're into.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Seeing the floors, dance the cha-cha through to sunrise.
It's a record I've never heard of, and it's just been released, and it's a guy from a psychedelic band called and he makes strange music.
They're actually quite good at that, so you can discover stuff that encourages people to check something out that you wouldn't get in a lot of other shops.
Our biggest album by a long, long way was Bon Iver's debut for Forever Ago, which kind of grew in the States, and you know, he did loads and loads of shows and the buzz built up. But I think that was a real proof of how an album can grow really organically and word of mouth, and then move into the kind of blogging press and stuff, and then actually filter out to real physical sales, which was amazing. And it just sold and sold and sold. And it is a brilliant example of somewhere that an indie shop can make a really big difference, because they didn't even stock it in HMV for ages, and then when they did, it was like treated like back catalogue, so they had it as a full price, you know, 17 quid album, when we were selling it like tons, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of it all over Christmas. And it kind of shows where, yeah, indies and the chains can exist separately and together, you know, where they can both cover completely different markets. We work too much, we sleep not enough, we don't take holidays really, and yeah, it's really hard, but I can't think of anything else we'd want to do. We've talked about this before. If we could do something else instead, what would we do? Can't think of anything we'd want to do, frankly.
Parece que o casal que vendeu a casa para construir a Resident rala sem parar para tocar o negócio. É uma história que se repete no universo das lojas de discos. Todo esforço vale a pena para conviver com gente interessante e música boa.
Plug in, flush out.